First off, I'm JP Espeña from the Philippines. So I'll be discussing about crafting solutions with artfully designed power apps. So first of all, I would like to thank our host, Charles, Anna, and Kat. So thank you for inviting me and Heather for today's talk. And I would also like to thank Heather for that wonderful discussion. So, yeah, personally, before I started joining these calls, I never really, I don't really know anything about accessibility besides like color contrast. So, yeah, there's still so much to learn. So, thank you, Heather, for that discussion. And also, thanks everyone for joining us today, or probably this evening if you're on the same side of the world as me. So, yeah, a little something about me is that I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. So, probably like most of you, I have zero education background on coding or software development. So, my career started in a cement manufacturing plant where I worked as an engineer. And then around since like 2016, so around late 2022, I discovered that we have access for Power Apps. And yeah, I've been very fascinated by software development, but I have never been able to like learn more about it because of time and like resources. So thankfully, we have this platform where we can build our own app in a low code environment. So yeah, my I built my first app in late 2022, which is a digital inspection app that we use in our plant. So basically, it looks something like this. So yeah, from time to time, I keep looking at this to compare how I do things before when I know very little about Power Apps. So yeah, thankful for all the MVPs that shared knowledge and skills for Power App development. So yeah, at that time I started thinking about uh, pursuing a career in Power Platform development. So to further my knowledge on Power Platform development, I joined the cohort one of Power App program by Microsoft in early 2023. And before graduating that, I fortunately landed a role in Power Platform development in a Australian company in May 2023. So after a year, I started posting some contents in LinkedIn, which probably some of you might have seen. So highlighting those contents, for example, is this Gantt chart using out of the box components from Power Apps and this Kanban board using the drag and drop PCF by Scott. So yeah, as you can see, I this design was inspired by the Microsoft uh, like contents that they shared. So with the gradient background and all the 3D floating objects. So I was really inspired by that imagery. So I incorporate that in this design. And most recently, I created this responsive template where it has responsive components such as this dashboard and also responsive and adjustable side navigation. So yeah, while these contents or side projects that I shared on LinkedIn are very, I would say, colorful. Most of my like work or professional projects are very clean and minimal in design. So, but I still consider that even though this minimal, it doesn't have to be boring. So I incorporate like colors and uh, iconography so that it can be as visually pleasing as those colorful projects that I did. So, for example, in this one, I have a project management app that I use colors for to show or to describe like the status of the projects, and at the same time those colors incorporated on the status and the donut charts here on the top. And for this timesheet management app, I use colors as well and some icons to like indicate what type of entries are these, like if it's time, fuel, or expenses and leave, which corresponds to the color that is shown on this calendar view. And for this one, it's an HR management app. I use some pictures for like a banner that usually very similar to what we have on some of the social media platform that we have, like LinkedIn. So yeah, those imagery I think can impact like the visual aspect of the app. But yeah, building good design is not just it's not all about the visual. It's like the overall user experience. So to achieve like a good design power app, there are key principles that you can follow. So first one is the consistency and branding. So it's all about the colors, fonts, and layout consistency. So to give you some examples, so for this one, uh, this is the project management app. So uh, having like uniform design all throughout the app will give consistency. So as you can see, like the colors uh, and all the fonts and the layout are consistent across the app. So it helps the user to become familiar with the app easily with very minimal to no guidance. So that's for consistency and navigation and accessibility. So accessibility was already discussed earlier by Heather. So for navigation, one of the key component that we can use is the navigation bar. So it helps the user to navigate across features easily whenever wherever they are across the app. So you can also incorporate something like a breadcrumbs that helps the user to identify their path or where have they been across the app. So uh, the function is that making these breadcrumbs uh, clickable. So when you click on the employees, you will be navigated back to that source or that page. So also you can incorporate in your app a tab component so that user can navigate across modules in the same page. So, for instance, I am here in the profile page, so I can navigate in between uh, across these different modules with the help of this tab component. So that's for navigation and for data presentation. The most commonly used data presentation in Power Apps is the galleries, but we can also add like charts and data cards that can help the user read the data on the Power App. So, for example, for this one, we have the cards that shows how many hours or total expenses are uh, plotted by the user in this month or in this fortnight. So it helps the user easily identify at a glance those data, as well as making the gallery more flexible and features that you can uh, present the data by filtering and sorting out those data in the gallery. So next one is performance optimization. So good design is nothing if your performance of the app is bad. So we've experienced that one in this timesheet management app where we have to use like nested galleries. So I know that nested galleries is not always advisable, but with our like the data model that we have no choice but to use nested galleries. So what we did is manipulate the data and utilize and optimize the collection function to like sort the issue on the data source, and as well as instead of having all the components for these tabs in one screen, we separated them in different screens, but retain the tab functionality. So the user will still have the perception that he or she is on the same screen of the approval. So that is something that you can implement as well, because I think Power Apps has as a guidelines or a limit of like 300 components in one screen. So after that number, uh, performance might be affected. So that is something to keep in mind. And lastly is mobile responsiveness. So beside making the layout of your app mobile responsive, you also have to consider like the components of how it will be presented in a mobile device or mobile screen. So, for example, this calendar makes sense on a desktop view since we you have like uh, big space to display this calendar and the data inside those dates. So, but in a small screen size like mobiles, uh, you can implement on changing this into a list or a card view where you display all the data and just display the necessary details that has on those dates. So yeah, basically just keeping in mind that not all components make sense when displayed in a mobile screen size. So to further demo these key principles, we are going to have a a little quick demo for to redesign this management app for invoices. So basically, I created earlier an invoice app, same as header earlier. I used like Copilot, and then this template of app was built. So I just added like those uh, icons to serve as like navigation, the ones that we usually have on a typical Power Apps design. So here we also have like the gallery and all the buttons to manipulate or edit and update the data as well. And this one, so if you earlier we were discussing about like putting labels on buttons. So this one might be confusing to some user because this can mean like lagging out or export. So yeah, those kind of things that we can say that we can improve on this app. So we will try to do that on the demo. So yeah, basically I start my process on creating the wireframe in Figma. So this way I can visualize like how I want the app to look like. So for the navigation, I want to have like a proper side navigation bar here. And then I wanted to have like a proper header here where I can put the user icon and also some buttons that might be useful, like refresh button or the menu button if the side navigation collapse, as well as like the header or the title page or the title of the screen. And at the same time, I want to put the basic function of the screen on top so it can be easily seen by the user. So I want the primary action here on this side and the secondary action on this side. And besides putting the gallery on this main content, I also want to create like some visual cards or data graphs or data representation to add more of the visual on the app. So yeah, let's start by creating this app. So I already created like the components. So with the interest of time, we will just like I will just make them visible so we can visualize that we are building the app bit by bit. So usually I started with building the components, the reusable component, such as this side navigation bar. So here it was built using mostly containers, and then inside those containers are the components. So first off, this collapsible button on top. So it controls the width of the side navigation bar. So the user has the freedom to adjust the width based on the size of the screen, as well as the main content of the side navigation bar. So here I have the container for the logo of the company, or even the app logo. You can put it here, and as well as the side navigation menu. So it is built using a gallery with components such as buttons and image to display the icon. So I forgot to mention, but yeah, to have a consistent colors and branding across the app, I defined the colors in this named formula section, as well as the SVG codes for the icons. So yeah, you can see it here. Like I defined all the color values and the icons here on the name formula, so that I can just easily reuse those code to display those icon and use them as the colors across the app. So yeah, basically for the side navigation menu, I use that image to identify the icons for the side navigation menu. And then I also have here a second side navigation menu. Uh, I built this one because on mobile screen, usually side navigation are hidden. So when you click on the button, or the usually burger button, the side navigation will pop up. So it's different from the normal side navigation like this one, because I added a rectangle shape here that when click, it will collapse or it will hide again this side navigation. So later I will show how it works. So another basic components, or the usual components, is the header. So here I have like the icon for the user, and as well as the uh, icon for or the icon for the menu bar, which has the function to set the show navigation bar to true. So it will show like the navigation bar in mobile device screen size. So yeah. So basically, one thing to consider when you want to make your app responsive is make them fit or place them in containers. So if you want to create like a good responsive app, I think knowledge in using containers is very important. So yeah. So as you can see here, I built this screen with a lots of containers. So yeah. Besides putting like the components, there are always inside the container, whether it's a flexible normal container, or the horizontal or vertical container. So yeah, first one to show is this side navigation bar. So yeah, I'll just make it visible. So for the visibility of the side navigation bar, I make it this side navigation bar will be hidden once the screen size will be less than 2. So meaning it will be hidden if the screen size, or the screen will be on the size of a mobile device. So if we like show some example, so as you can see, the side navigation bar is hidden based on that function. So after putting the side navigation bar, I first off I added like this horizontal container, so that I can fit the side navigation bar and the main content here. So that every time that navigation bar is hidden, the main content will occupy the space of the side navigation bar, since using horizontal containers will make them auto layout. So yeah, it will always occupies the space. So let's just show this main content and then show the header. So I place the header here on top. So I use like this container because I use this type of container whenever I have components that overlap each other. So if the components are not arranged vertically or horizontally, I use the normal container type. So next we will show this main content. And yeah, this one, for this, I already have the side navigation bar and the header components shown. And then next one, we will show the header. So yeah, let me just make this one quick. Yeah, so here we have the header. So I also put them inside a container so we can like lay out them in a proper way. So using containers, it makes everything easy because you don't have to worry about the alignment of the components inside those containers. So I always use containers like this. So I also added here the export button. So finally, we have the knowledge that this button means export because, yeah, that's the function of that one. And then I will make another button for the main function of this screen, which is to add new invoice. So I use this type of layout of button so user will know that this is the primary function of the app or of the screen. Next one is we will build the cards that represents like the uh, data of the app. So let me just make this first visible. So the first one will be the total income. So I want to have like a data card here that shows the total income from the invoices. So here I will put this one. So I have here like a vertical container that has these components such as image and labels that shows the total income or the total amount of those invoices. I also want to add like a little graph here that shows the trend of those income. So I added this image. Let me just turn it on. Yeah, so I use quick charts here. So to add this graph or a trend like image here. So if you check on the image value of this one, you can see like the code of that image using quick chart. So yeah, second, I want to have like a card that shows the number of items or number of invoices by status. So let me just turn that on. So I have here like the uh, dot chart that shows the number of items or the how many invoices are there based on the status. So unlike using or BI or some other PCF, where you can interact with the app, with the chart, using quick charts, we will not be able to do that because you use like an image component to display those chart in here. So what I did was I did some trick where I used this legend as a button, where I also added some buttons and also some indicators to like show which status it is. So let me just zoom it in. So yeah, as you can see in this gallery, I added buttons, and when you click on that button, it gives a value to a local variable, which is the status. So when this button is clicked, uh, the chart will also be changed based on that selected status. So I manipulated this SVG chart or the quick chart to like switch based on that selected local status or local variable status. So if the open is selected, and then this is the color that will be shown on that chart. So basically, you can like interact with the chart based on that selected status on this side. So when you click on again, it will go back to the total. So yeah, that's one thing you can do. So you can make your chart interactive when you use Quick Chart for visualizations on your app. And last one, I wanted to add like a graph where it shows like the how many or how many amounts per by payment method. So it's just the same quick chart using image control and then just input like the quick chart code SVG code here. Yeah, basically now we have like the data visualization for the invoice list that we have. So next, we want to show like a gallery that displays the full data of those invoices. So here I also have like a vertical container as well. And then these vertical containers will house all the components that we can use to control or to show and display the gallery for the invoice. So first off, we have the search and the filter. So I arrange them in horizontal container as well, so they will always have like proper arrangement and alignment. And the next one I have here, this header or the section for the header, which is arranged horizontally as well. And then what you can do with the header, instead of just using like normal labels to serve as the title or the header of the columns, you can use a button to make those headers function as the sorting for the gallery as well. So let me just show an example. So let me just show this gallery. So as you can see here, yeah, I use this header as I use a button for this header so that I can sort this view using this button. So whenever I click this one, it will sort out this gallery. And also I use the same sorting technique on this date title or date header to sort this gallery by the date. So as you can see, when I sorted this one, it automatically turns off the sorting by the invoice ID. So yeah, basically making the header dual in function by making it as the ability of sorting the gallery. So for the last part on this gallery, I also added like a pagination implementation. So basically, since I created this screen as scrollable, it is not good to make the gallery scrollable as well because it confuses like the scrolling of the user. So the best way to display this list or gallery is to make it implement some pagination in here. So basically, there are lots of resources you can find online that teaches how to make the gallery with paginations. But I usually use a hidden gallery that is connected directly to the source, which is the invoice list. And then this is where also the filters and the sorting applies. And then this visible gallery is calls the data from that hidden and then just applies the pagination size and pagination number as well. So yeah, basically that's the function of that hidden and visible gallery. So when you click on these buttons to view the next one, you can browse across the pages or the list of the items. And also I have here like the rows per page. So you can control how many rows you can view in one page. So you can set it to 10 and it will display the 10 items. So yeah. And lastly, one thing to consider that because sometimes it can be easily forgotten. When you do some searching and nothing is found, basically sometimes the gallery just collapse or it won't show anything. So best way is to add like a note or an indicator that no data is found when that search is done. So yeah, so basically we are done with transforming this invoice app into this I would say more visually pleasing design. And if you want to make it more colorful, you can by adding background here. So like some of my content, I use like a gradient background, such as this one or this one. So you can add those background to make it more colorful. So as you can see, our header and our side navigation bar is already ready for that background because I already put like an HTML background on this one. So this HTML code, if you ask me to build this one from scratch, I can't do that. So I just found this from the internet and then just change some of the properties that I could understand so that I can come up with something like this where it gives off some kind of glass effect on the items behind it, as well as same thing as on the header where when things or components passes below it, it gives off that glass effect. So yeah, basically you just need to adjust like the this containers for this one because I also use HTML as a shadow for this one because there's a default or a given shadow for containers in Power Apps, but I don't normally use them because yeah, it's less customizable than using an HTML to show a shadow or give shadow for the container. So basically, I have this group of shadows here that calls or give shadows for each containers that I have in this main component. So basically, you just need to transform them instead of a shadow. Just need to change them into this same HTML glass effect, and then just adjust because the sizing I put here some offset so that it can contain or show as a shadow of the container. So when you do that, when you after adjusting those HTML and then giving the same glass effect as this one, you can end up with something like this. So yeah, I just adjust like those HTML into some kind of background so you can easily see those contents in this colorful background. So yep, basically that's it. So we were able to redesign this simple template from Power Apps into this new redesigned invoice management app, as well as this one with a much more colorful visuals or graphics. So yeah, thanks guys.